Hi everybody, Melissa Klein again, and just going into showing you the dry brush technique. And dry brush technique is pretty much just what it sounds like. I've got a paper towel kind of handy because that's something you're gonna kind of need to use. Use whatever makes sense for you. This is also a good technique to use with a brush that's maybe not so great. And of course now all my not so great brushes are like hiding somewhere. Oh yeah, this is one that's a little bit like, little had better days, Or here's another. Oh, why does many of my brushes look like they've had better days? Okay, so what you want to do with dry brush is get it to be what it sounds like. So I've got this so that you can just see. I've got a bunch of water kind of pooled into the middle of this paint set, or into these cake pans of paint, and I'm just tapping my brush on like the driest part I can find on this. Okay, now for me at least with dry brush technique, I find that it's something like if I had a painting that was really developed and let's say I wanted to do dry brush technique, I would not do this technique without testing, like this area I did not use that technique, but this would be a good place to use it, like just on something you want to add like a little highlight or something to. And so I wouldn't just do it. I would definitely have a piece of paper to the side, because even though I went for the driest part, I still have, like, you're like, what is that? That's not very dry. Be patient. Patience with me. Okay. Then I'm going in for a different color because this other one looks a little bit drier. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. And that is, there's debates about like what's real dry brush or what's, and depending on your brush itself, like the bristles and stuff, this may be, this to me is dry brush, and this would be more like a wet type of thing. So if I wanted to, I could kind of just add this little bit of a texture. I actually use, when I've done portraits in acrylic and oil, this is a technique I use, but it works with watercolor as well. It's really kind of a nice way to kind of tone down an area, and it's very, very subtle, or it can be very subtle depending on what what the stage of your brush is at. And so again, I just dipped it a little bit and I'm like, okay. And actually the more I'm doing it, the better it's getting. Now here's another, like this would be great, like if for like a dandelion or something fuzzy and soft, like a cat. It would be, I might use that, or an animal of some sort. And yeah, just adding this like sort of subtle tone. And that's sort of been lately like a theme with our classes is, as you guys are developing skills, we're having kind of different conversations about things, because we're noticing all this like weird little stuff. But it is really amazing when you kind of open up this sort of world of, and see how this is sort of, in my opinion, this one looks kind of nicer. Like if you're going for a shadow, this is a cool technique. But it's amazing to sort of, kind of open up these deeper layers of technique and meaning. And yet at the same time, I find like I'm always going back to the basics. Now I'm dipping my brush into a little bit of a yellow. I know I'm gonna wind up like with some weird green. But it's also like, I find I love using yellow to kind of warm up things. And this is a good one. Actually, this is a cheap, obviously, like just dollar brush. And you can tell, like, from the rust and all, like, this thing has been through hell. Perfect for doing this type of stuff. I would use this more on larger pieces, but I will kind of, it will actually, this is kind of a cool example of, like, wow, you can use this really cheap brush, painter's brush from Home Depot, and get something kind of cool out of it. And again, like, this is a brush that I've used on murals. I know this because this is one of the colors that the green on there that didn't quite get out because it was dried in there and blah, blah, blah. And just kind of going over it and just warming up that thing. Again, I'm doing, like, kind of the thing on the side, getting it how I like it. You know, you have to play around a little bit with it. This is where I say things like, yeah, I messed up on purpose so that you could learn. No, I was looking to get a perfect thing. Oh, you know, but this is fun too, because now it's sort of looking like, to me, like, I don't know, like a big planet on a, you know, with the sun of another planet coming through before the comet hits, and they all, you know, okay, so, anywho, hope you enjoyed that. I guess I'd love to see you, you know, if you find places to use this, go for it. And maybe, you know, just create you know, be like, okay, I'm going to try it. My painting sucks. We'll try it, okay? Because it is a technique that I use pretty regularly, and I think a lot of artists do. It's a pretty common one. So have a fabulous day, and I look forward to seeing you on Zoom.